So it only took 9 years for Robert Rodriguez and Frank Miller to give us a sequel to Sin City. Is it worth the wait? Well, depends on what exactly you're looking for. In this new anthology of stories, Sin City's most hard-boiled citizens cross paths with some of its most notorious inhabitants. For Marv, this is just another Saturday night of booze and breaking bones. Johnny, a gambler who never loses, raises the ire of the vile Senator Rourke with a secret to levy against him. Then, years prior, the sultry Ava Lord comes back into the life of Dwight and becomes wrapped up in her seductive allure down a path of deadly manipulation and deceit. And Nancy Callahan, broken and spiteful, becomes obsessed with Senator Rourke in order to avenge the memory of John Hardigan. Thus, the city proves that there is no justice without sin. So yes, I was a very big fan of the 2005 Sin City movie. That was a great original, fresh idea and everything. When it came to theaters, it was like nothing you had ever seen before as a comic book film, and I find that it gets very much overlooked when you talk about the best comic book movies made, because a lot of people focus on the superhero type of stuff, and there are a lot of other genres inside comic books that don't get quite as much attention as they should. And why it took them 9 years to actually get a sequel released is beyond me. I don't know why, because when you got a really successful film that is just, everyone loves it, you want to capitalize on that very quickly. Strike while the iron's hot. While the popularity is high, you go ahead and make a sequel to capitalize on people who are still very much interested in that product. So why it took so long, I don't know, and it kind of feels like this sequel feels like an afterthought to me. That it feels like, oh, we forgot to make a sequel to that movie? Okay, we'll go ahead and try to take some of the same characters you knew before, some of the same stories, expand on them a little bit, but they don't feel as intriguing. They don't feel as fresh. They don't feel as very much fascinating as they were before. Because in the first film, I thought the real good strengths of the film were that the characters were greatly charismatic, very interesting characters, wrapped up in stories that had a lot of mystery and intrigue to them, that you had a lot of shady backgrounds and shadowy type of stuff where you don't really know the full story, but you're getting wrapped up in this very mysterious, obviously film noir landscape and everything that really makes it very much intriguing, because you're pulled into the thing trying to grab those little things, those little nuances and everything, to really kind of understand a little bit more about the backgrounds of these characters that you don't really know the full thing. In this film, there's prequel stuff, there's sequel stuff like that, so it gets like the first film was very non-linear in a certain way, so it really kind of takes a little bit of getting used to after a while, but it feels like some of the storylines are good, some of the performances are very good. I thought Joseph Gordon-Levitt's storyline, I thought he was great in the movie, playing this very suave, swaggering type of charismatic, kind of smooth player type of thing. This sort of Mr. Lucky Johnny character that I thought was very fantastic. I think Gordon-Levitt is a fantastic actor. He does great work, and he does great work in this film. But his storyline, I liked his storyline. For a while there, it was really the one that I really liked, but ultimately, his storyline doesn't go anywhere. There's no payoff to the storyline that he has in the film. It just kind of runs into a dead end, and there's nothing else going on with it, and just segues into a different storyline going on parallel to that. So just like, generally, it's like if there's no payoff, it doesn't lead towards anything. Just kind of like, why is it here, whatnot. I thought the prequel storyline with Dwight was great because it had Eva Green in this storyline, and she is incredible in this film. Not because she's fully naked for half of her screen time, which is glorious to behold, but she is just an amazingly talented actress, and playing her as femme fatale is absolutely fits her so perfectly. She does such a great job just chewing things up a little bit and just relishing it and just enjoying it so much. Fantastic performance from her. Josh Brolin does a good job as Dwight in this. Mickey Rourke, again, does a very fun, charismatic job as Marv throughout the whole film. But the storyline just didn't have that sense of intrigue to me that really kind of wrapped me up. And the film overall has a lot less action than the first film had. So it just, the action is good. It's all very well shot. It's all very well executed and everything. But it just doesn't give you as much as you had before. There's not as much visceral brutality as there was before. It wasn't as much just absolute gore and guts and everything that the first film had. There's not as much veracity to it. It's much more wrapped up in a little bit more dialogue and everything, a little bit more of that voiceover type of stuff, much more about the interaction of the characters and trying to build towards something. But the White storyline just didn't quite do anything for me, because it just felt like it was just kind of like laying a couple of seeds for where you would pick up the White story in the first film. It just didn't feel like it had as much intrigue or fascinating quality to it as I would have liked. Just didn't hit the right spark for me. It just felt little flat here and there. But like I said, Eva Green's performance is absolutely fantastic in this film. If you want to see it just for that, I would definitely say see it, because it's definitely worthwhile. Then you got the Jessica Alba storyline with Nancy Callahan, which is the sequel storyline to the Hartigan Yellow Bastard storyline in the first film, which is very intriguing. I liked it a lot. Jessica Alba was given a lot more media material to do in the film. She doesn't do a fantastic job with it, but she does a good job with what she's given. It really is a compelling storyline. She's very self-destructive after Hartigan died, took his own life at the end of the first film, and everything that went on with that. So she's in a very self-destructive type of mode, wanting to get revenge on Rourke and everything. Powers Boothe is fucking awesome in this movie. This guy was absolutely, positively born to be a villain in the film. He is one of the best guys to ever portray a villain on screen. It is so absolutely natural to him to play such a awesome fucking villain that just has all the power, all the strength, all the physical dominance on screen and everything. He just does a fantastic job in the film, and he has plenty to do in the film. And like I said, Jessica Alba does a very good job with what she has to do. I thought the storyline was very compelling. I have Bruce Willis there as Hartigan, as a sort of specter that's looming over her. However, there is a gigantic plot hole in this storyline, because it cannot possibly take place prior to the hard goodbye, and thus Marv should be dead at the time this story takes place. And there are other people who are dead at the end of this storyline who are alive in the other, and vice versa. And furthermore, Nancy appears in the hard goodbye, showing no signs of her scars or the fractured, messed up woman that she is in this storyline. And both this and the Giant storyline are newly penned stories by Frank Miller for this film exclusively, and both show a real lack of respect to the audience, either in offering no real payoff to the storyline or showing no respect to the actual established continuity in the films, but taken on its own merits as a standalone, self-contained story without dealing with any of that. I think it is a solid storyline that is very interesting, but obviously it shows that there was a lot of things in this film that they didn't take a lot of time to really put a lot of extra effort into making sure that this was very sound and very solid and everything, and it really kind of shows that this film is not as great as it possibly could have been all the way through. When the film ended, it just felt like the film lacked a certain punctuation at the whole thing, just overall lacked a certain volume of punch that the first film really had in abundance. Just had all that great action, all that kind of great hard-hitting, just knuckle-cracking type of badassery and everything. This film just felt like it was a lot more toned down in a certain way. It's still an R-rated film, obviously. There's still not really graphic violence in a certain way. I mean, they still got the blood coming out, but it's all the white, toned-down blood and everything. But regardless of that, it was still a violent film. It's still a sleazy, grimy type of, seedy type of storyline, but it just felt like it didn't deliver as, I don't know, much of an abundant level of everything as the first film had. So it just felt a little underdeveloped, a little under executed. Could have just gone a lot more hard hitting, a lot more intensity, whatnot. Just felt like there just wasn't as much visceral quality of the film as the first film had, as much of that just like going right for the gut of everything. Overall, I think Sin City: A Dame to Kill For is a decent film. I don't know if you go, I didn't see it in 3D, but I could tell that they did a lot of really good CGI type of work to create a lot of 3D atmosphere with all the smoke and various things. Even the opening titles seem like they were strictly designed for like a 3D experience. So I think a 3D experience for this film would probably be very good. I don't know if it's really worth a $15 ticket to see it 3D, but it might be enjoyable. You might definitely find some good things. Again, get Marv here, who he's a sidekick to everyone else's storyline, so really he's just there to have a few little lines here and there and just kind of kick a little ass. So if you just want that, you'll probably get some satisfaction out of the film. But overall, it's a little less than what I would want. It really feels like this franchise should be about 3 or 4 films deep at this point, and we're only just getting to the second film now, and it feels like, I don't know if there'd be a lot of fuel re-injected into the interest of the franchise with this film, because not fantastic, but it's not a bad film in any sense or whatnot. It just feels a little lackluster to me. But overall, the film is still very good in a certain way, but could have a lot better things going on throughout it. But regardless of that, stop rambling, stop repeating myself. I'm going to get out of here, and I'll have, since I haven't mentioned it yet, September will be the anniversary month for Forever Cinematic, so I'm going to be trying to do a couple of special reviews for films that are very dear to me. So films that have a lot of personal connection to myself, probably like Manhunter and a few other things. I got a short list of things I really want to get to. And following that, October will be Forever Horror Month, so horror movies abundance in that month, but there'll probably be a break or two in the horror stuff during that month to focus on a couple of films that I might still be interested in at the time. But regardless of that, that's what's going on. That's what you can look forward to, and I'll catch you later. Post your comments below about Sin City, what you love about the graphic novels, the films they've already put out and everything, who your favorite character is in this whole thing. Obviously, the first film was really, I thought Mickey Rourke just kind of shined completely as Marv and everything, but there's a lot of good stuff to see in these Sin City films. But I'll leave you now. Post some comments below, hit some like buttons, and share the links around if you want to see more people get interested in Forever Cinematic at RavensFilm Productions. So take care. Bye-bye.